y'all, it's me, Evelyn Hall, at Home with Diversity Realtor at Waters Edge Realty on the Sharp Group. I am doing a long awaited video. Excuse my head, y'all. A long awaited video talking about, there was a post a little while ago that someone tagged in Courtney Richardson. She does lashes at Top Tier Minx. Look her up if you want your lashes done. She tagged Winfred and I in this post where this girl was saying she works at a mortgage company and she would not, in the next 5 years, she would not be buying no house because those prices change. You don't know what your monthly payment's gonna be. And so she inquired, Winfred answered her, but I started thinking like, man, she knows the answer now because Winfred gave her the information, you know, and I know, and maybe some people know, but maybe others don't. So I wanted to do a video discussing monthly mortgage payments, what that entails. So depending on the loan package you get, they might require you to have a PITI payment. PITI stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Okay, so if you buy my listing that I'm at right now, I'm gonna use this as an example. This is from Cassandra Langley at SWBC Mortgage. So if you purchase the listing that I'm at right now for $249 is the offer price. However much the interest is, and what I have here on this paper, let's just say you're doing a FHA loan with 3.5% down. And all of this is variable because interest, all that depends on your credit, your debt to income ratio. There's so many moving factors in a mortgage that really is hard to narrow it down to this is how it is every time, because it's truly not how it is every time. But there are some general guidelines, and let's start with you bought this house for $249,000, and let's just say you got whatever credit and debt to income requirements met that gives you the 3% down FHA approval for this house, right? And so the rate that she's saying is a 6.625%. If you get through the approval process and you have purchased this house for $249,000 with a 6.625 interest rate, that is what it's going to be the whole 30 years that you are paying increments of the $249,000 at a 6.625 interest rate, unless you refinance, HELOC, do something else to change the contract that you're getting into for the mortgage. But the $249 is not going to change. The payment breakdown is not going to change. The interest is not going to change unless you refinance it to get a different interest rate. Then that will change. But it ain't going to change just willy-nilly how she's saying. But let's go back and remember that I said a PITI payment. Some loan programs you have to do a PITI payment, a principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Taxes and insurance. Okay. So on this house, what Cassandra is estimating is that the taxes and insurance are going to be $366 a month. Down here is a bunch of writing saying the date that she printed this out, she sent it to me, the conditions of the market, all of that. So let's just say you did it today and you're getting all this. Her estimate is that for the first year, your taxes and insurance is going to be $366. Now, this is what changes, the taxes and the insurance. If you have to have a PITI payment and you have to include the taxes and insurance, the taxes and insurance can and will change. In our area, I was going to actually print up our property taxes over the last years that we've owned the house, and they have went up every year because the valuation of the property has went up. We have gained equity year over year. More and more people move into the area, and so the area that we're at is more valuable. and the taxes as a percentage of the assessed value of the house. So it's gonna go up. Pause. If you do not have your taxes and your insurance wrapped up into your mortgage, you still have to pay the taxes and you have to pay the increase year over year. You're not going to get away from owning a house and paying whatever they say you have to pay in taxes. You're going to have to pay it. Also, the next thing would be hazard insurance. You got to have insurance it's just like you got to have insurance on a car if you buy a new car. You got to have insurance on the house, because the person who's securing the loan for you, not the person or even the entity, sometimes it's Freddie or Fannie or whatever, they want to protect their investment. And so imagine a natural disaster happens and you're only a year or 2 years into paying the mortgage and you just decide to stop. There's no protection for them from them for 30 years at sometimes. You don't have to get a 30-year mortgage either. You can get a 15. You can get different year terms. Everybody's mortgage is different. So for whatever term you have agreed to purchase a house, there is a risk assessed for the person who let you borrow the $249,000 to buy this house. So they're going to insist that you have insurance. And the way that they're going to make sure you have it is you have to pay it through your monthly payment. But guess what? If you didn't have to have it all put together, you still going to have to pay insurance. So I guess what part of the rebuttal is, taxes and insurance are expenses of homeownership. That is something you have to pay. That is a responsibility of being a homeowner. Now, let's talk about comparing. I'm just going to rent. We have to compare apples to apples. So not renting a house versus renting an apartment or a condo. Renting a house versus buying a house. If you're buying this house for $249,000 today, and you're not going to live in it, it's going to be an investment. First of all, you're not going to get that interest rate. Interest rates are different for second homes and investment properties. But if you buy this home and you got your PITI payment together in here, and you're paying your monthly payment for this home, and you have a renter in here. The renter, they're paying the rent, but what is the rent supposed to cover, right? I'm just as a different hat now. The person who is paying the rent is definitely covering the expenses of living in the house. Nobody is, if they are, it's very bad business plan to allow someone to come and rent their house and let the rent be the same year over year, no matter how much of an increase they get on their property taxes and on their homeowner's insurance. That's bad business, right? So even in the 5 years that you wouldn't buy, if you're renting a house, your rent's gonna go up anyway, because the payment on the house is going up. Did you know that typically rent goes up 5% year over year? So I just was trying to further expand on what Winfred was saying. You know, I was thinking, I don't know where she is renting. Her rent don't go up. You know, it was like she wasn't prepared. She don't want to pay the change year over year. But your rent changes year over year. I said all that to say this. If you want to buy a house, and that is your goal, is to have equity and to buy a house, let that be your goal and do that. And I will gladly help you with that. If you want to rent because you don't want the expenses of being a homeowner, the responsibility of being a homeowner, you just want to rent that is good too. That is just as good. And if you need a rental property, I think I got 3 or 4 right now that I can send your application and you can do that. There's no wrong way to live your life. I think though, sometimes we weigh heavily the opinions, like the constructive criticism of people who have not constructed anything. So if I have not bought a house, I can't be telling people, if I've never went through a home buying process, or even as an agent, if I had never represented someone through a home buying process, I can research, but how heavily would you weigh my criticisms if I had never done it? My grandmama used to say, baby, you can't catch no shade from trees that don't bear fruit. So that is what I want to say. What I want to say is, if you're looking to buy a home, talk to someone who has bought a home, or a realtor, or someone who is not works at the mortgage company, but does mortgage loans. Speak to one of them. Look up questions. Ask why, because a lot of times we are under the assumption that this is something we get so tunnel vision that we don't know what you know and what you don't know. We don't know what you know and what you don't know. So ask the questions. Realtors are obligated to be honest with you. There are an agency agreement is serious. Your agent owes you loyalty, honesty. They're gonna be honest with you. It's just if we don't know that you don't know, there's nothing. We don't know that you didn't know. So yeah, that's it. If you want to buy a house, give me a call. Let's discuss the home buying process. Let's discuss taxes and insurance. I will pull, not my insurance, definitely. I'm not able to pull year over year how much I pay, because I have switched insurance companies several times. So that is also something I'd like to say. Get yourself a local insurance agent. I use Derek Stillman at Stillman Agency. And every year, when it is time for my insurance to renew, I know if it's going to go up or not, because he told me. He called me. He had an alarm on his calendar or whatever that it's time for the Hall resident insurance renewal. And if he sees that it's going to go up, if I stay with the same company, it's going to double, it's going to go do something ridiculous, he's going to shop around for me. And he's going to tell me, hey, this is another option for you. This is a new program that they're doing, a roof deductible program. And because you have a metal roof and it's this many years old, this is what the deductible will be for that. And this would make the payment for your insurance every month over month a lot lower than staying in this same policy. So that is also important. Make sure you have, you trust and know your representation, like your agents and your insurance agents, your realtor, all of that. So that's it. That is the nitty gritty of it. Your monthly payment will change if you have a government-backed loan or a loan product that requires you to make a PITI payment. But the principal and interest are not changing. Like how much you're paying for the house is not changing. The interest rate you got when you bought the house, it's not changing. But the counting is going up on your taxes, and the insurance companies are going up or down, whichever way, it happens. So there are certain things you can control, and certain things you can't. And you can't control how much taxes they're going to charge. You just got to pay it. And that's another reason why those loan programs require you to have a PITI payment. Because imagine you lose your house because you didn't pay your taxes. People do that all the time. That was delicious. I literally did not mean for this video to be 15 minutes long. I really wanted it to be 3 to 5 minutes. But I just had a lull. Somebody had just left, and I wanted to go over PITI payments with you guys. So I would feel better when I see people say, My mortgage payment went up after the first year. I'm like, well, I guess because I've been paying mortgage, I just took it for granted. And then I think back to that first year, and I was like, dang, our mortgage, the payment that we make every month, it's been went up every year since we bought the house, for sure. But like I said, we have doubled in equity. So how much our assessed value was when we bought the house, the assessed value is not the appraised value. That's another video for another time. So it's not exactly how much the property is worth, but it's how much the county assesses the value of the property to be, which is always way lower than actually what it ended up appraising for. But our assessed value has went up, I think, probably over 100%. So our taxes have gone up. We pay it. Insurance has gone up, but like I said, they're every year, and it's in it's coming up in November, I think. Oh, maybe it's not. I don't know. But when it is time for us to, I don't even have to keep up with it. Derek's gonna send me an email or give me a call and say, hey, Evelyn, it's time for your insurance to renew. Let me tell you what because they're gonna just renew it over and over. The mortgage company is gonna just keep paying it, and so the insurance company sends the mortgage company a bill, and the mortgage company is just gonna pay it and put it up toward charge it to your escrow account. Derek's saying, wait, I see there's a big change coming. There's a big change. They're gonna double your homeowner's insurance, or homeowner insurance went up because, you know, a lot of providers pulled out of the market. And so now supply and demand is high, so insurance rates are high. But here's this program I got with this other company, and you can, you know, get that. And that's why I love a trusted provider, and I would love to share my trusted providers with you guys. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up and scheduled to do another one of these. I don't know what, and see, this is me. I'm like, I don't know what I need to tell people, because I don't know what you don't know until you don't know it. But this is the first, well, not the first. I have tried this before, and I have not committed myself to doing videos, but this is the first of probably several. And I would love to shout out a local business every time some part through there. And I know that I shouted out Stillman Agency and Top Tier Minks, both of which not only do I recommend, but I use. So I wouldn't recommend anybody to you that I wouldn't use or haven't used. All right, friends. Well, there's your real estate minute. And I will talk to you guys later. Oh, I know what I'm going to talk about next. I'm going to talk about the Hustle and Heart Initiative. I like the amount of money from every closing that goes towards the nonprofit of your choice. It was my choice, but I've changed it to your choice, because maybe my choice is the same one over and over again. So I'm going to do your choice. Whichever nonprofit my client decides, send a portion of the proceeds to them. That's what we'll be talking about in the next video, y'all.